Hey, everybody. Good day. Good day. Happy November. I am here with my friend Gary McHugh Jr., and we're going to be talking about resilience, perseverance, getting past the things that really keep you stuck, why things happen to us, why it makes us better, stronger, more resilient, and why never to bail no matter what until you get to where you want. So why don't I let Gary really quickly introduce himself. Gary's a business coach, but Gary, tell us a bit about yourself and give us some context for our talk today about resilience, getting past the stuff that blows up in our lives, of course, and how to turn that into rocket fuel. So that's our conversation today. Tell us really briefly about yourself, if you'd be so kind, sir.
Absolutely. So thank you, James, for having me on here today and appreciate the opportunity to share the message here. And I'm looking really forward to this conversation.
Right on.
So for myself, I am a 10X certified coach. I own my own coaching and consulting company, Make You Growth. We focus on helping entrepreneurs, salespeople, and business owners to increase their revenues by up to 30% in 90 days or less. We do
Right.
that with three key focus areas: sales, marketing, and mindset. Today, of course, mindset,
Oh,
right?
mindset.
Clarity, abundance, focus, getting past obstacles, all such a crucial part. And on the personal side, a little bit of a background, so you understand why it is adversity matters and why I felt so strongly on today's topic is, growing up, had a pretty normal childhood, go from there, jump in, and right outside of college, some family illnesses set in. Had some challenges as far as that goes. Changing careers, and we'll get into that with some big pivots. And then also, of course, being a parent. That is I don't want to say the ultimate form of certain adversity, but certainly there's so much that you can be fearful of, and
Sure.
enjoying that journey and taking those on. So with that, I'll turn it back over, but I think that gives just a little bit of a hint on me, and we'll dive in as much as you like on each of those areas.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And now you and I both are no strangers to adversity, and a lot of people in the world the same. I mean, most people have adversity in their lives. Oftentimes we forget we're not alone, that everyone's going through
Yes,
something, especially now with the state of the union, state of the world. Oh my gosh, people are going through so much, and I think
absolutely.
it's important to remember that and not get too down ourselves, too hopeless or desperate or desolate or just down, because I've had, and we'll talk about support systems after, but the stuff I've been through,
Mhm.
it just in terms of your bullying and trauma, anxiety, depression, health issues, obesity issues, all this stuff in my life. I used to be 236 pounds, clinically obese, and now a nice 190, and so
Fantastic.
it's interesting how I find, and when you really look at and step back, or the aftermath is usually where you see it. Wow, that really made me stronger or more resilient,
Yes.
or more interesting person, or more compassionate or whatever. But I wanted to talk to you and hear about the adversities you care to share, and really what those learnings were for you and how it's made you better, faster, stronger,
Yeah.
what more resilient, whatever it is, whatever that. So let's talk a bit, if you would, about some of the wounds and then the
Sure.
wisdom that's come from them to start off, and then we, of course, we'll talk about why it comes up. It's there for a reason, and then we'll talk about importance of support systems as well, tying it all together. But tell us about
Absolutely.
yourself, where you came from, some of the adversity, and what are the big things you learned, Gary?
Yeah. So a little bit different today, right? We're going to focus a little bit on the negative so that we can bring a positive light to it. And that's a little different than I think I'm used to. And I think most people are used to, but I find that that's so insightful, and there's
Mm,
so much more authenticity that comes from that.
correct.
Um, so similar to yourself, some childhood bullying issues. I had some issues, particular in the eighth grade level, where administration became involved, and there was all sorts of issues that arose out of that, up to and including some scruffles in the lunchroom sort of activity, and
Hmm.
obviously that is overall a negative experience on the face, but coming out of that, then you realize the importance of standing up for yourself, being true to your own, self, and being clear with your intentions, learning to ask for help
Mm,
uh, when it seems that maybe there is no help or that no one can help, right? So oftentimes we're in a circumstance where that urge to ask for help, and maybe not oftentimes, but in those times where it's most needed, where the urgency of the help is highest, it can feel as though, well, no one could help right now.
mm.
And that's simply not the case in most circumstances, right? And
You're
it's,
right.
don't ask, you don't know.
And that's the thing. It's almost human, and not to cut you off, but I thought that
No,
thought you
absolutely.
have, I want to continue because it's almost human nature to
Mhm.
shut up or shut down or hide or
Yes.
whatever when we're going through stuff, which is the opposite. It's so counterintuitive of what we need to do is reach out, mentors,
Yes.
friends, colleagues, coaches, associates, whatever, and talk to someone, talk through it and get us out of it versus, quickly versus stewing in the crap for ages and ages.
Yes.
And again, I know judgment, I do it too sometimes, but then I'm very fortunate to have mentors and support systems, which we'll talk about later,
Yeah. Yeah.
to do that. So I'd want to interrupt you, but it's a great important thought that it's so counterintuitive. We hide when we really need to.
Yes. We need to outreach, and that is, it's that natural thing, because we feel a sense of oftentimes failure or shame.
Yeah,
Shame is a huge component,
yeah,
and that then is what really drives them to draw within.
true,
And
true.
the danger of that is it can lead the route of depression, and whether it's clinical depression or that feeling of downness and not wanting to outreach. But we tend to turn away, and rightly, as you pointed out, and I'm going to kind of continue that, because
Please.
hit it right on the head, is you turn away from then your friends, you don't want to do the fun activities, and then what's left, right, is just this challenge. And there's the saying, and to a degree there's an appropriate time for it,
Yeah.
and there's certainly an overuse. And I think, for particularly with men,
Yes.
particularly in Western culture, the embrace the suck, put it in a box, these are so dangerous when they're large issues, right? If you're upset because you had to wait in line for 5 minutes for your macchiato, put it in the box and brace the
Suck it up,
suck. You'll
buttercup.
be all right. You'll be fine.
Have some
Ask
patience.
for a double shot when you get up to the counter. You'll be
Exactly, exactly. Take deep
right.
breathe, do some deep practice, some deep breathing in that moment.
Absolutely. Run through your senses, and 501, go down to the one, and do some of those activities, and that will help you. But when it's a serious issue, when it's something that has a lot of weight or importance, whether real or perceived, right? Because especially when we're dealing with emotions, perception is the reality
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
because our mind is so powerful, it takes over. So that's when we have to take it out of the box, and being mindful, of course, who you're sharing with, right? Knowing that you have, and we'll talk on support groups later, but you have
Yeah.
supporters, you have naysayers
Yeah.
who they mean the best for you, but they're not pushing you in that right direction. And then, of course, we know the world is full of haters, whether they be the internet keyboard warriors or marching in the streets against you.
Yeah.
And if you're a good person, it's a fact of reality,
It
and it's
happens.
not something you've even earned.
It is, and it's interesting. I tell people you want that polarization. Wow,
Yes.
like boom, my mic dropped. You want that polarization. You want that polarization.
Yes.
And the interesting fact is, there's what 7.5 billion people in the world.
Mhm.
Even if most of those people hate you, and 1% of the world loves you, that's still 7.5 million people. That's
Yes.
a lot of people. That's a
That's
ton of
famous.
people. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Are you able can you serve all of them in your lifetime? Maybe, maybe not, but that's still a lot of people. Even if 99% of the world hates you, which I can guarantee it's not going to happen, and 1% loves you,
Yeah.
I think we want that polarization. If it's a lukewarm, watered down message, people don't hear it. No one hears these
Yeah.
lukewarm, watered down, nice and nice. Oh, I don't want to piss anyone off message. I'm like, I don't know if I should do this. Maybe it'll ruffle some feathers. Maybe it'll piss some people off. I'm like, I got to do it. And I go do it. It's a
Yes.
sign, because if it's coming, you're being a jerk, then no, stop, please. But if it's coming from the heart, even if it's a bit harsh, a bit raw and real, it's like, guys, I'm pissed off today. I have a friend that rants, and he gets tons of views on his posts, because he's passionate, talking about something important to him, and people love it. So it's like, guys, I'm pissed off today. Where's all the action takers? Where's the people looking to grow their lives and not give excuses and just go for it? So whatever it is, right? I may ruffle a few feathers, I may piss some people off. That's okay. I want to supercharge and motivate those people who want big things, and who are like, yeah, screw this.
Yes.
Let's have a big, powerful message, a polarized message. Embrace the haters, because it means you have a message. You're not hiding somewhere in a cave, and that message is reaching people. Embrace the hate. Embrace it.
And be ethical with it. Of course, that's an
Of course,
underlying
yeah,
assumption.
exactly.
But it sometimes it needs that extra saying, right? And I think we see where sometimes people go astray with that, where the ethics start to get watered down themselves, and now the message becomes, morally corrupt or whatever.
True.
But having that assumption, right? And 99% of people are moral, ethical people. There's a couple standouts that we could, point to that break that code. But outside of that, most people are just trying to be themselves. But if you're not afraid to say it and you don't water it down, really flip that on its head, right? If I water down my message, if I water down what I truly and honestly believe to try and appease someone else, then is that ethical to my own beliefs? And I think the answer to that is no.
Hell no, exactly. Is that
you're
authentic? Is that authentic? No. If I'm not being authentic, is that ethical to me? No. I love that. That is amazing. You're being unethical and unauthentic to yourself if you water your message down, or if you shut up and don't speak it, or if you speak a false truth just to not piss people off or keep the peace, or keep people around, keep the friends. And when they're the wrong friends, if they don't appreciate you and don't, at least they might, I don't agree with everything my friends think, but we're still friends.
Oh, certainly
let
not.
them express themselves. If they hate on you because you're being honest, well, this is what I feel, and this is why, then they're the wrong friends, or the wrong people. Go find some new people to hang out with and let you be yourself. The cost, cost is the ultimate cost of a life unlived. Cost is too great.
Yes, absolutely. And that, so I think that standing up for yourself, that sharing your actual message, being authentic, that is I think the biggest lesson out of, what was that horrible experience of 8th grade bullying and everything that went on with it. I think another foundational experience for me on the face of challenges and adversity is my mother has a degenerative disease, and the outcome of that is of course, we know where that leads.
Mine too. So I feel you, brother. Sorry to hear that, man. I feel like,
no, absolutely. And same for you as well. And knowing that, then it puts you in positions that you never expected to be in, and certainly not maybe in your age group, right? And that's one of those things where, I think we all grow up knowing, okay, at some point, mom and dad will need some extra help. But depending on the timelines and being thankful that we have mom and dad still, right? Because or mom or dad or whoever, right? And that's something that, so often people aren't fortunate to still have those experiences. But to try and do as much as possible, but stepping into those additional roles, right? Now we're taking care of 2 households' finances and trying to deal with, the government and things of that nature, insurance companies. Oh, that is, we want to talk adversity. Let's talk about insurance companies and trying to get anything done. That I think resilience stands out as the key takeaway there. Resilience of the person with the illness to stay positive, to enjoy life, to get the most out of everything, whether it's in limited faculties or not, and to just continue pushing on and doing as much as possible. And then for the caretaker, then resilience in building those systems. If you're dealing with outside help, it never goes right in the first place. It's hiring, and it's hiring for something that's ultra personal and ultra specific. So if you're doing that, you're going to face some turnover, some adversity there. And then, of course, insurance companies and anything that's government, whether it be local, state, federal, whichever, there's going to be some adversity there. And resilience, I think, is the one thing that draws through. And it comes back then to where I see it in the business is we tend to use the word consistency instead of resilient. And I think resilience is our ability to take those consistent actions, right? It's the ability to persevere through. And then the consistency is knowing that we're taking steady steps, right?
Yes.
We are going to submit that appeal letter. We are going to call the doctor again. We are going to show up, even though we know today may not be fun experience.
But be fun, or it's going to suck, or we do it anyway. Feel the fear, face the fear, do it anyways, or run towards the gunfire, as I always say. I mean, often the war is you wouldn't run from gunfire because you get shot. You go towards it because you have a better chance at taking out the enemy and not getting hit. So it's run towards the fear, run towards the gunfire. And it's I've learned that too. And so I don't always do it. I'm human. Although most times when I do it, the fear, it's scary and the fear disappears. Luckily, I have all kinds of NLP tools and all kinds of really cool tools I teach, including something called the power process. I'll have to teach that to you. The power process helps you nuke that fear, worry, failure, fear of failure, anxiety, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, all this fear taking action. It helps you nuke that. and saw you. So then we just, okay, that's gone. I'll just go do it now. And then
Yes.
the fear is gone anyways. And when you do it, like the fear is gone. Like Pink says in that song Trust Fall, F it, go do it. And when you do it, the fear is gone. Boom, it vanishes.
Yes, absolutely. And in action it's the only cure, right? Because if we know there's a threat and we don't attack that threat,
Yeah.
then we're simply a victim. And being the victim, there's no positive outcome. The only thing that continues is to continue to be a victim or to wait for some sort of savior. But even then, you're still the victim. You've never learned then to stand up. You've never learned how to tackle it. And that is a piece of the creativity that comes from that, the problem solving, right? We think of critical thinking, common sense is maybe a rare thing nowadays, but I think that's a misnomer in the sense that as people face things in their lives, if you lean into it, then you learn those street smart sort of things, right? But they're not as simple as you don't go to that corner after a certain hour. It's okay, when you're dealing with insurance, you've got to know certain terminology. When you're dealing with applications, you've got to write a certain way. You've got to be willing to just follow the process, even if you know the process is imperfect, maybe broken. Right? But you know that putting yourself in this position, as uncomfortable as it may be, gets you to attacking your problem and
Exactly.
starting a resolution, if not fixing it altogether.
And I like that. I like that you say that. I tell people because things taking action, investing, whatever can be scary. We did one on money yesterday. So many people think, okay, what's this going to cost me to invest in a course or a business or whatever?
Sure.
And I say, no. Poor people think that way. Rich people, successful people, and there's no, I don't mean any offense to anyone, but I'm being real. Rich people, successful people think, how much is this going to make me investing in this course, this thing, this business, this training, this tool, this whatever? Okay, how much is this going to make this website? How much is this going to make me? How much, what's my ROI in this? And that's the best bet to make decisions versus, well, no, I'm not going to spend 5 or 10K on a course to help me do whatever, but I'm going to spend, I don't know, 2K on a huge TV, which is going to have, minus productivity and minus benefit in my life or whatever, or a super fancy car or more.
Or add up your bar bills every weekend. Every Friday, add those up and see what that equals.
Oh my gosh. And what is the ROI on that stuff? And yes, have a great power suit. But again, I want to cut through the BS here of a lot of things with love, because I do it too. It's like, do you really need that? And what is the ROI on that? What is this going to make you buying that cruise or that trip? And I'm a big vacation guy. Yes. But again, you can buy a cruise. Yeah. Or you can just go ridiculously lavish in something you don't need. And that's way more expensive. And I've learned, I love traveling. I'm going to Nicaragua for 2.5 weeks on Friday. And literally to eat down there, it's like $2, $3, $4 for like a good meal, not like a McDonald's burger, like a good, healthy and delicious meal. $2, $3, $4 to stay, maybe like $30, $40 a night to stay, maybe $50 a night to stay, if you're at a great place, right? And now you can go, sure, can you go crazy? Yes. But I'm going there and I'm working remotely for far less than I can work remotely in US or Canada. And I'm going there. So again, you can do it and you can do it still really well and love it without being silly. And I'm looking for I can write it off because I'm looking for retreats. I'm doing research on retreats and hotels and locations for my retreats and my trainings. So there's a business purpose as well. And I get to work from paradise to the ocean for 2.5 weeks. So it's looking at, what is this? What is the ROI in this? What is the ROI? How much is this going to make me? I think people forget to do that. And to your point, that's the fear is there. Oh my God, I'm going to spend this money with Gary or James or Fred or Bob or on whatever or whoever that's going to benefit you, benefit your business, help you grow. And it is scary. It is absolutely scary. I'm going to be investing in some things too.
If you don't have that inkling of fear, even if you've worked with a coach before, if you've done a conference before, even if you've gone to the same conference and now you're coming back for a follow-on year, right? There should be that twinge of, is this going to help me? What's my intention going into this? Is there a genuine purpose and will I get a result? Because if you stop asking those questions, that's where we start becoming wasteful. And then that's where you see the extravagant trips that don't have a real benefit, right? And it's not to say that, if you've built your business and certainly if it's from passive income, you can go and rent the yacht and fly private and by all means, you've earned it. Go do those things. Yeah. But if you're on the come up and you're not there yet, that's not the place to spend that, right? It's go to the conference, buy the better ticket at the conference so that you can network, don't
Network,
fly
correct.
first class to get there. Right.
Exactly.
And
Rub shoulders.
that's,
Exactly.
that's a huge differentiator. And maybe your trip cost is the exact same in having a business purpose. Even when you go on a personal vacation, right? We've got a trip coming up in April. We're going to go down to Miami. I've got 3 days of 10X Growth Conference I'm going to attend and network and build my business through that. And the wife and the baby are going to come down and we meet some friends and
Why
they're
not?
going to have a great time and explore the area. And then I've got some time at the end. And of course, we'll have family time around that. But 2 for 1.
Beautiful. Exactly.
Want to go on a trip and it's a business purpose.
You can't go wrong. Exactly. Business purpose, business write-off, and again, you can have fun too. And people you love can come with you. I love being, I love being an entrepreneur. Oh my goodness, it's just there's so much fear and resistance for people to get into it. And yes, it's a different world and it's a unique world. Pros and cons to everything. I'm going to be working remotely in Nicaragua, loving it in paradise and swimming in the ocean, enjoying the sun for 2.5 weeks. That's a definite pro. There's also cons that come with being your own business and of course, with working for someone else, I don't think I could do that again, but working with someone else, pros and cons to that too, depending what you want. But if you want this life, if you want the entrepreneur life, go seek it and push it. And if you're an entrepreneur and you need to grow, invest wisely. There's no 100%, when you walk out tomorrow, go walk down the street or get in the car, there's no 100% guarantee of anything, right? But it's just those calculated risks and those steps and sometimes big risks. I'm about to invest big in my website too, more than I ever have in my site, and bring a time where I've already invested in a bunch of stuff for growth. So again, scary, uncomfortable, yes. And it helps me grow. It helps me learn and to teach others and share resources with others and support others.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So you keep pushing through, keep pushing on and doing the scary stuff. It's often the scary stuff. There's a saying, your success, I don't know if you believe this, but your success is just right. And your peace as well is right on the other side of that scary stuff, just right on the other side of it.
Yes. And so something we say in 10X, and it comes from Grant Cardone himself, is do the things you're afraid of, right? Fear isn't telling you what not to do. It's telling you instead what you really should be doing. It's that barrier to that action and just a variation of exactly what you described there. And as entrepreneurs and business owners, right, that is, and we're talking adversity, right? So let's lay it out there. You're going to feel alone oftentimes. There's no one to turn to, right? Especially if you're in that solopreneur stage. You can't turn to the boss and say, all right, boss,
what do we do? Or walk down the cubicle and say, hey, what do you think?
Walk down the corner office. Exactly. And that is such a challenge for people, and rightfully so, right? Because if we look at any great success, there's always a team. And you have to build that team. But something that we say as laying the groundwork for that is you really should be generating about 200 to 250,000, and I'm talking US dollars of revenue on your own prior to bringing in the team. But that doesn't mean you have to be alone. Get a community, right? If you've got a coach and they've got a program, meet with the other mentees, the other people that are in coaching. If you go to a seminar, meet people who are like you and connect with them and keep in touch with them. That is one of the biggest pieces. And now I'm getting into support systems, but
correct. Great. And in the last couple of minutes, exactly.
All ties in. Yeah.
Exactly. Correct. It all ties in that support. So although I will disagree with you on the 250 level. I think people can't afford not to hire a full-time employee, no, but a VA. I have 2 of them. For different, specifically for different purposes. Like a VA early on, oh my God, I could have saved so much time and energy and grown so much early on. Maybe a full-time employee that you're paying a lot of money to, no, but a outsourced overseas VA that costs you $4 to $6 an hour, that's going to do the crap you don't want to do or you're not good at, and the stuff that doesn't make you money, that I think is definitely priceless. But that's interesting. And
I'll clarify on that a little bit, because I don't want that to be misconstrued, because it's such an important thing. And you hit right on it. It's to not hire a full-time W-2, right? So in the US here, a W-2 employee, somebody who you've got to pay health insurance for, workers' comp for, all these other things.
Vacation pay up here, vacation pay.
All of that, yes.
Contractors, vendors.
So contract out, have vendors, use AI, build automation systems. That's that first piece of scale. Then when you hit that break point, as Brandon Dawson calls them, you're able to now bring in your first full-time employee and then scale from there.
Yeah, if you need, I plan. Sorry, I cut you off. Please continue.
No, you're good. No,
if you need, I plan for quite high level to have vendors, suppliers, closers, and things like that. That way I can, if someone's not performing, it's not a pain to say, hey, look, you need to change and grow so my company grows, or I need to find someone else with it. With a W-2 employee or a full-time employee with all benefits and all that stuff, I think people sometimes get a little lazy versus they it's their own business almost, and they're selling their services, they're outsourcing to you, whether it's sales or marketing or virtual assistant or social media reach out. I think it keeps them a little snappier. Not that I'm saying not to hire employees, but for me, I think it'll be a while before I hire an official employee because everything else is working so well. Vendors, partners, these systems, electronic systems that do so much, plus all these people, all my teams, outsource my lawyers. I have Legal Shield. I call a lawyer whenever I want, but it's like $40-50 a month, but I call a lawyer, they review things, give me advice anytime I want. Accountants, my virtual assistants, vendors, marketers, web people, SEO people, it's all these experts versus having an employee try to figure out and become an expert on all these things. And to your point, if you're big enough that you need an expert on just one thing,
correct,
big enough, then yes, then hire. So what I love that. I love the clarification. A little quick in the last minute or so.
Yeah.
Let's talk about support systems. And I think the biggest thing we've been talking about here is hanging out with the right people and avoiding, or at least having boundaries, big boundaries.
Boundaries,
with people that put you down, including your family. And sometimes your family and friends can be the worst adversaries to bring you down or tell you, oh, that won't work, or it's too hard, or not possible. I mean, you got to be really careful, which is why I'm going to do a plug for us. A business coach like Gary, or a business and empowerment trainer like myself, a communication, influence, persuasion, confidence trainer like myself. If you want the tools to be successful in business, people like ourselves, bringing us into that partnership, if you will, into the mix, helping and partner with you, is absolutely, I think, absolutely key. But Gary, talk to us. What would you say the number one support system would be for people who want to be wildly successful? What is that support system?
Yeah, absolutely. So in one word, it's your power base, and your power base breaks into a few different pieces, right? So it's who you know, right? So we can look to grow our power base. We can identify who could I meet that could change my life, right? Maybe that's a spiritual leader that can help recenter you spiritually. Maybe it's a health and fitness, somebody who can get you physically in shape, right? And that's something I know was part of your journey. And for myself, I'm down 30 pounds. So I'm not stopping. I've got full in on that. So those are part of your systems. But if we think of it as concentric rings, it starts with your immediate group. Who are the 5 people that you're going to spend the most time with? And that's going to be the largest impact.
Choose wisely.
And those 5 people, be extremely selective with. Right? This is not where you're making friends or hurting feelings. This is where you need, for your own success, to take that accountability and say, who are the 5 people? I need to spend less time with somebody to make room for somebody else that's going to benefit me and make me more successful, so that I can give back, so that I can have more time for my family, right?
And maybe help that person.
All of it.
And maybe help the person. Yeah, exactly. I choose success, and versus, oh, well, we've been and again, being very, very, very caring guys here, but cutting the BS. Oh, we've been friends for 20, 30, 10 years, whatever. Cut the bullshit, guys. If they're not lifting you up, and especially if they're dragging you down, that is BS, guys. I'll say that is bullshit. That is literally dragging you down. They're going to sabotage you. It doesn't mean you have to completely disconnect. You can. I've done it with several people, but you can also have big boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes you need to just quit, right? We quit things all the time. We quit cold turkey on bad habits. We quit things that are good for us sometimes, right? And sometimes you need to quit a relationship. But before we get to that stage, right, we want to try and revamp it, maybe set those boundaries. But for that core group, those top 5, they should be your biggest support, pushing you not just to be comfortable, right? Because if they're pushing you to be comfortable, then that goes in that other bucket where so often family comes in. Oh, you're already doing so well. Shouldn't you just be happy with what you have?
Take tonight off, relax.
Bullshit. Those are naysayers. And that is a naysayer. And oftentimes it can be mom, it can be dad, your sibling,
sister, brother, friend, husband, wife,
whoever it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. It could be a husband, wife. And that is the biggest threat then to your success, because if you stay stagnant, you're losing. So we have to be pushing towards the growth. When you come out from the 5, now it's going to be immediate family, close friends, those people that you hold near and dear to you. And then you go out from there, whether it be work colleagues, associates, people from your church, right? And things of that. And you just go out. And remember, you're only a couple introductions away from meeting anyone in the world. And that sounds so crazy when you say there's 7.5 billion people, but especially with social media, I guarantee you, if you want to meet someone, you may have to change. You may have to grow to become the person to rise to that opportunity.
Yep.
But you're only a couple connections away from it.
And that's it. I mean, I people say you look like Mark Wahlberg, and which is kind of cool. But I again, there's two people, two people have their 2 or 3 connections away from him, and I'm like, that's super cool. To your point, you're only a few connections away, and I've honestly, cutting out the wrong people, I've made so many amazing friends in with somehow networking or clients or whatever through my business. I've made some amazing friends, partnerships. It's been incredible when you're willing to be like, all right, we can hang out with them during playtime if they want to drink and party or whatever, or naysay once in a while. Okay, I'll hang out once in a while. But again, the top 5 or maybe even 10 people you spend the most time with, choose wisely. Oh my gosh, choose wisely, and that will serve you. Any last thoughts to wrap? We got to do part 2, Gary. My gosh, we got to do part 2.
We'll have to definitely come back.
It's a lot of cool stuff. What's a last thought and wrap up, and then how can people reach you, of course, as well?
Yeah, of course. So last thought is you will face adversity. There's no way around it, especially if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner. It is part and parcel to the process. It's part of what the joy comes from too.
Yeah.
Look for that as your opportunity. Get through it. Build that resilience. Work not just on your skill sets, but really pay attention to the mindset. And as an extension of mindset, or more broadly, maybe is your mental health, right? So being aware of that, and don't be afraid to talk on those topics.
Yeah.
Learn what you need to learn, grow to become the person you need to be to rise to your next opportunity. And anytime you think you're at a lid, you're capping yourself. Blow that out of the water, and you can push past it. So that, I would say, is the biggest takeaway from today. And the most important thing that I really want to get across as far as facing adversity and realizing it's a limit, and we're going to break those limits. And so often they're beliefs, and we just need to break that belief. As simple as that sounds to say, not as simple to do, but that's where your support system, your coach, really pushes you through on that. As far as if you want to get in contact with me, at Micu Growth on whichever your favorite social is. So it's MICU and then the word growth.
Nice.
That is Facebook, Instagram, wherever you are, I'm there. Come and find me. And I've actually got something for the listeners here, a free gift. So please. On that mindset side, to pursue your 10x super life, you can go to micugrowth.com/gift and go ahead and claim that ebook and exercise. And then if you've got any questions after the fact, I'll make myself available to you. So please go ahead and take advantage of that.
Very cool. I appreciate the gift. I'll match that too. You've inspired me. I will give away the Super Persuasion Playbook. It's a bit of a draft mode right now. It's not pretty in all kinds of pictures. It's finished, but not pretty with pictures. So I'll do that too. Because it's a draft, ping me, DM me if you want that. Happy to do that. DM me or email me, james@unleashyourpower.com. The 7 keys to being highly influential and persuasive with integrity and hearing yes more from people. So that's the Super Persuasion Playbook. Great stuff from Gary and myself. I love this. Love this, guys. Take action. Go to Gary's site. DM me, email me, James@unleashyourpower, or just DM me. We'll get that to you. It's been a pleasure, Gary. We got to talk more about this because this is awesome. Guys, for now, until we talk again, have a part 2. Have your best day ever. And thanks very much, Gary, for joining me.
Absolutely.
Be well, brother. Peace. Bye, guys. Take care.